Hey guys, this is Coach Michele coming to you live from Atlanta. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a super fantastic weekend and preparing for your week. Yes, so I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to chime in and get myself a little organized here. Hello. When I say organized, get a pen, because you know I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So I always need to have a piece of paper and pen. So hope you guys had a super fantastic. Hi, Vivian. How are you? Hello. Hey, Michele. Hello. Hope you guys had a super fantastic weekend. And happy Sunday. So I realized today when I was preparing for my week that today is, and I realized this because I was doing numbers, messing with numbers and planning, right? So it's so important. You know, the old cliche or the famous cliche is, hey, Tamisha, happy Sunday, my dear, is if you don't plan, then you plan to fail, right? So a lot of times we're so busy and we don't get around to doing the things that we know we need to do, which is consistency. We need to be consistent in everything that we do in life and business, right? So as I was preparing for my week and doing my numbers and talking with Coach Rob and, you know, planning, because so many times we plan and then we forget about the plan. So we're not executing. Hello, Keisha. So we're not executing. So as I was going through preparing for my week, I realized, hey, I wonder if you guys understand how important it is and what today is, right? So today is Sunday. Yes, but today is the last day of the second quarter. So there's 4 quarters in the year, right? Today is the last day, June 30th, of the second quarter. So that means we have 2 quarters left, guys. We have third quarter and fourth quarter to make it happen. Most businesses have the generate, right? Especially if you're thinking about retail, generate the most revenue in the fourth quarter, right? When we think about basketball, right? You know, I'm a basketball mom. Most teams are more dominant in the third and fourth quarter. If we think about a fight, professional fight, a lot of times the fight is won in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, right? So if it's a 12 round, if it's 6 round or whatever it is, it doesn't matter who's winning in the beginning, right? Because you can be, as a boxer, right, as a fighter, you can be tagging them, and your conversion rate, if you will, is high, and your percentage rate is higher, and you're tagging them. Guess what? You could be winning 6 rounds and get knocked out in the 7th round. Right? So it's all about stamina. It's all about who's really prepared. It's about who really has a game plan. Sometimes some fighters, their game plan is to wait to the third or the fourth quarter, right? And tire out, you know, their competitor. So we never know what someone's game plan is. So my question to you guys today is, what is your game plan? Because today ends the second quarter. Today ends the second quarter. And in this particular industry, based on my business, the third and the fourth quarter, specifically the fourth quarter, is where we make most of our money, which takes us right into the first quarter of the following year. And the reason why we make more money in the fourth quarter that takes us directly into the first quarter of the following year, the momentum is flowing, is because that's when most people are looking for home care services. And they're looking for home care services at that particular time because of the holidays, right? So you have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, people are visiting their parents, people are visiting their loved ones that they may not have seen all year or for at least a couple of months. And then they realize, oh shoot, Mom is moving slower than she, usually move. Dad is forgetting. Mom is asking me the same questions over and over. OMG, we were cooking Thanksgiving dinner and Mom left the stove on. So they start to see all of these little things that starts them thinking like, I need to look for services for Mom. So they do it during the Thanksgiving break. They do it during the Christmas break. They do it during the New Year's, right? So a lot of times when they're doing it in November and December, right? Then that money, that service, that momentum goes right into the new year. So I'm here to tell you guys, not only is it the last day of the second quarter, but if you have not gotten started, it's not too late. It's not too late. And that's the reason why, or the main reason why I'm coming live right now, is because sometimes it takes us so long to get started. Sometimes it takes us so long to create movement. Hashtag movement. Sometimes it takes us so long to create movement that we never move. That we never move. You see, I'm sitting here with my workout gear on because I worked out today. Right? So over the last couple of days, Coach Rob and I have been working out. So we have a gym, a mini gym in our basement, right? We have all type of equipment. I don't use any of it. I walk past it every single day. Sometimes I don't even go downstairs because I don't want to walk past it, right? But I made a commitment a couple of days ago that I'm going to work on me as far as my body, my health, as far as getting out there, walking and being committed to, my health, right? So now back in January, and the reason why I brought that up is back in January, everybody is so gung-ho on this New Year's resolution. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make money. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. All of these things that we say we're going to do because man has trained us that we need to make some type of commitment or words, right? Words, which I call, they're just feel good statements. And that's my belief, right? When people make these New Year's resolutions, they're just feel good statements. Let me see how I can make myself feel good. Let me see what I can say to make other people, impress other people. Let me see what I can do to make my spouse or my significant other or my family proud of me. So I'm going to commit to lose weight. I'm going to commit to do this. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to do all these things. And guess what? Based on statistics, based on findings, based on my research, 80% of them go unaccomplished. And the reason why is because there's no accountability. We say things, and then we don't hold ourselves accountable. We say things because it sounds good and it's easy to spit things out. It's easy, right? I don't like the way this tastes, and you spit it out, and now it's done. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be in a position where not only do you utter the words, but you commit to doing the work. You commit to doing the work. So many of you, based on my experience and the phone calls that come into my office and the feedback that I get from my team or when I take a call, is that so many of you commit verbally, but you don't do the work. So many of you have said back in December going into January that you're going to start your business, that you're going to serve your community, that you've been wanting to do this for 10 years. You've been wanting to do this for 5 years. You've been wanting to do this. You're waiting for your kids to get, grown. You're waiting for your kids to graduate high school. Those are all excuses. Those are all excuses. So I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter what you said prior to right now. It doesn't matter that you didn't accomplish anything that you said you were going to accomplish. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you create movement today. What matters is that if you find yourself stuck and you cannot figure it out on your own, if you find yourself stagnant, if you find yourself just at a loss of what to do, then you probably need a coach. And so what we've decided to do to help you guys through this process, because so many of you reach out to us, so many of you say, oh, I want to do it so bad. I want you to be my coach, so bad. I don't have the financial means to do it. I need to do this and this and, more excuses, perhaps the truth, right? So what we've decided to do, we've put together informational call. An informational call, a Q&A, and it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to actually host the session, and I'm going to help those of you that have not gotten started, or those of you that have came and said, you know what, I really want you to be my coach. I really want you to, walk me through this process. Coach Rob put together an incentive. It's an amazing incentive. It's an amazing incentive. I'm not going to go into what it is. If you guys are interested and you want to learn more about how myself and my team can help you, if you want to learn what the incentive is, then you can register. I put the link in the description section here. All you have to do is click on it. You do have to register. One of the requirements is that when you register, you need to have your Zoom set up, because it's going to be live stream via Zoom. So you have to have your Zoom set up, meaning with your picture, right? So you have to have your picture there. You need to enter with your name. So if I'm entering, I'm setting up my Zoom, my picture is going to be there, and I'm putting in my name, Michele Williams. Right? And then that way we know who you are and we're able to communicate with you. So if you register and if it just shows your, a black screen, or if it just shows your phone number, we're going to automatically remove you from it, right? Because so many times we are afraid. We're afraid. So this way I get to see you guys, you get to see me, I get to answer your questions. So it is going to be a Q&A as well. I get to answer some questions for you guys. I get to share with you how we can assist you with our coaching program. I get to show you and share with you the amazing incentive that Coach Rob put together, which is nothing like we've ever done before. And the reason why we're doing it is because so many of you reach out to us. So many of you reach out to us and say, I really want to do this, but I can't afford it. And we can easily say, you know what? You have to invest in yourself. You got to figure it out, right? But sometimes we need to look and say, how can we help our tribe, our people even more? So this is the reason why we came up with this new strategy, new things that we're implementing. And for those of you that are interested and you need that push, or you need that coach, or you need someone to hold your hand, you need a system in place. You need to know what to say to clients, how to say it, when to say it. You need to know where to market your business, grow your business, how to grow your business, what to do, what to say, and those type of things. Then this may be something that would be of interest to you. It's a part of our VIP hybrid program, and it is absolutely phenomenal. So the link is there. You can click on it. You can register. It's going to take place tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will walk you through. I will personally walk you through what that looks like, right? So let's get back to, you've made a decision back in January or 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm asking you guys, what is holding you back? If you're not where you want to be, what is holding you back? And I know there's a lag and a delay here, and you can type it in, and perhaps I can, answer that question, or what I can do is take it and answer it tomorrow, because guess what? If you're experiencing that, I'm pretty sure there's many other people experiencing it. So if you have any specific things that are holding you back from moving forward, you're welcome, Nicole. If you're having anything that's holding you back from moving forward, you can jot it down, and then I'll add it into, my free informational call that I'm doing tomorrow, which is a 30-minute call going over a little bit of Q&A, going over the services that we offer and the amazing incentive that Coach Rob put together to try to get you to that next step. So getting clients is actually, getting clients is very challenging for most people, but a lot of times it's just because you don't know what to do, right? You just don't know what to do. I was on the call with one of my clients the other day, and I briefly shared this. She doesn't want me to say, like, give her a shout out, but I am going to say her name because she gave me authorization to say her name. So one of my clients, and she's not on here right now. So one of my clients shared with me the other day how something so small turned out to be so huge. Something so small turned out to be something so huge. And she said this happened to her after conference. And she, we talked about it in great detail last week. And I wanted to go live and have her on so bad. So if she comes on here, and if you come on and you want to share something, I would love it. But I respect it as well. Because what happens sometimes, guys, when I go live, and that's why I don't do it often, sharing with clients unless they, give me authorization, is because then so many people bombard them and send them inbox messages, and this is just keeping it real, send them inbox messages saying, what did you do? How did you do it? What did you do? And then it's just not fair to them. And then some people say, well, why people won't give me free information? If someone paid for their service and to get them where they are, then it's not fair for them, or they may not want to just give it away for free. Right? So a lot of times people say, oh, well, why didn't, I called my home care agencies in the area and nobody wants to give me anything. They worked for it. Think about how LeBron works. Nobody is in the gym with him when he's shooting, all day long. Steph Curry, nobody's there with him all day long. With me, I'm always investing in training. I'm always improving my mind. I'm a constant avid reader. So all of this knowledge that I have in my head is because I've invested in myself. I've invested in myself financially. I've invested in myself by my time. And I'm constantly improving and seeing what I can do to make a difference in the lives of my family and the lives of you guys. That's why I'm constantly going live, sharing information that can help you guys, that doesn't have a monetary figure associated with it. Because sometimes we just need a little push. And sometimes there's many of us that are able to take something so small and run with it, right? Because if God put in you entrepreneurship and the gift to build a business, then you may just need a little push. You may not need full-blown coaching. You may not need all these other things. But guess what? No matter how great you are, in my mindset is that no matter how great I am, and no matter all of the blessings and gifts that God has put within me, I still have a coach, because I constantly want to be challenged. I constantly know I don't know everything. So I'm always investing in myself via a coach, via training, via webinars, seminars, live conferences I love. So we have to get in a mindset of investing in ourselves and not expecting things to be free. Right? Not expecting things to be free. And guess what, guys? I say this so many times, I got this from Coach, that you are the client, or you should be the client you want to receive. You should be the client you want to receive. So if you're out there and you go and you are constantly tipping, so if you have a service and people, and you're in a service, not home care, guys, because some of you follow me that are not home care. If you have a service and people can tip you, you got to be a tipper. So when you're going out to get things done, you want to be in a position for people to tip you, and you need to be tipping people. Guess what? If you're going around to people asking for business advice and different things for free, how would you feel if you're how would you feel if you start your business and then your clients are asking for home care services for free? Right? You're not a nonprofit. So if you're constantly out there asking people for free advice, tell me how to do this, tell me how to do this, and then your clients come to you and say, can you do my nails for free? Can you do my hair for free? Can you give me a discount on this? Can you give me a discount on that? Then guess what? That's what you are attracting. That's what you're putting out. So sometimes we think this thing of entrepreneurship is so hard. It's all about the mindset. It's all about what we have here and how we are putting it out into the universe. If someone's breaking the contract, should I let it go or make them pay? Who is that? Shaniga? I think, let me say this. It really depends on what it is, right? It really depends on what it is. Personally, I don't break contracts. Even if I'm not satisfied, I don't blame the other person, right? If I'm not satisfied, I don't blame the other person. I look at myself for everything in life and, business. I always look at myself and say, what could I have done different? So personally, I don't break agreements. I may have dialogue with that person or that company and to help me get back on the right track or help me understand something, right? But I don't break contracts. So now, if someone has a contract with me and they've broken the contract, it depends on which one of my businesses it's in, right? So it really depends. So if someone has a contract with you, it just really depends on what it is, right? So let me tell you this. I have a home care client that owes me about $2,500. Actually, I have two home care clients that owe me $2,500, and that $2,500 is rough. Like, I think one is $2,514, and the other one is like $2,450 or something like that. So we'll just say $2,500. Two clients that owe me $2,500. Trust and believe, I want my $5,000. Trust and believe, I want my. They said my service was good, but they couldn't afford it anymore. What is it? Your home care service? Let me know if it's your home care service or what type of service it is. Okay, so trust and believe, I want my $5,000. So I've been working with them, right? I've been working with them and I've been trying to help them. One is a Medicaid client, and all she needs to do is submit the paperwork to Medicaid so they can approve her so I can get paid. And the way it works is that if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then they're supposed to pay. I know she cannot afford to pay. However, I want my money. So what I did is I offered to physically have one of my team members, even myself, take her down to DFACS to take the paperwork because I want my $2,500, right? And then the other one wrote a check and the check bounced. And we have rendered service for her. And I made a mistake, right? So that's why I say I always look at myself first. In this particular situation, I always collect a deposit with my clients before they start. However, with this individual, I did not collect the deposit. If I would have collected a deposit, I wouldn't have ran into this situation. So that's one of the reasons why I initially said I always look at myself, right? So it's so important when you have policies and procedures in place, don't deviate from them for people. And so many times us, right, as passionate, caring people and really wanting to serve, sometimes we make exceptions. And when we make those exceptions, guys, I'm here to tell you, when we make those exceptions, that's when we get burnt. My experience, I'm not generalizing for the masses. I'm telling you based on my experience is that when I make an exception, that's when we get burnt, right? So with this individual, she just got out the hospital. We picked her up from the hospital and we started service ASAP. That same day we started service. I did not collect the deposit. And then she wrote me a check and it bounced. And it's been months and she hasn't given it to me. And she's constantly making excuses. And this is a young person. She's 40 something years old and she has the money. So trust and believe I'm going to get my $2,500. So yes, she did break it. She did break it. So my deposit is 1 week. So I'm not saying you should do that. I recommend all of my VIP clients, we all do it. But it just depends on your business structure and why you do it. But I say collect 1 week deposit. I have a couple of clients that collect 2 week deposits. So it just depends. Remember, back on Memorial Day when I went live talking about, my client Kat, she collected. So, Kat did on Memorial Day, she generated, I think it was $46,000 in revenue for the month, right? So she had two clients and it came up to 46 something a month in revenue. And I went live and I shared that with you. She came onto the live and she, said thank you to everyone for, saying congratulations to her. And she collected 2 weeks. A 2-week deposit. So for one client, she walked away with an $11,000 check that day for just one client, which was for 2 weeks of service, right? So it just depends on how you have it set up. So now to get back to, you have a home care client, and the home care client said your services are great, but she can no longer afford them. So I don't do contracts, and I don't recommend that you do a contract. Shanika, I think it's saying Shanika, the sun is shining in. Yes, Shanika. I couldn't tell if it was an N or an M. So Shanika, I personally don't do contracts. I only want my home care clients to stay with me if they're happy with the service. So so we only do agreements. We don't do contracts. So in that case, I would just say let them go. But before I let them go, I would have a conversation, right? So depending upon how many hours and the level of service that's needed. So say that she has or he has, 40 hours a week. If they can no longer afford to pay for 40 hours a week, say $20 an hour, $800 a week, $3,200 a month, then maybe you can decrease that but however, very important, when you decrease the hours, you got to make sure you're still able to provide the level of service, because you don't want to decrease hours and then they can complain saying your caregiver is not doing what she's supposed to do or he's supposed to do, and now they're upset. So if you decrease and you say, oh, well, Ms. Jones, I understand that you're no longer in a position to pay $800 a week. What are you able to afford, because you still need the service? Right? So you have a conversation. Everything is about conversation. There's nothing that we can't work out, guys. Even after a conversation, if you have to part ways with an individual, a business partner, a client, a loved one, whatever it is, it can always be resolved. Like I remember, there's a quote, and I'm not good with quotes, but I remember Jay-Z said, you must reveal the situation in order to heal the situation, right? So you must reveal the situation in order to heal the situation. So I believe that everything can be resolved as far as coming to a resolution through conversation. So even at the end of the conversation, if you say, let's agree that we can no longer work together, you still came to a decision. Let's agree that we can no longer, be this. Let's agree that you do this and I do this. So there's always a solution to whatever the problem is. It may not be favorable to everyone. However, there's always a solution, and it all stems from communication and having a conversation is the way I do things. So, and you got to be really willing to give and take, right? But in your case, again, but in your case, I would say have a conversation, and I would eliminate a contract. I don't do contract. I don't think that a senior or an individual that needs home care services should be, hey, LaShawn, should be in a contract. You see what I mean? Because things change all the time. We had a client that was doing 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, and stopped because they got a lower rate through their job. And now they just came back to us. We're resuming service on tomorrow. So we didn't have a contract. So they were able to leave because it made sense. So instead of paying us $20 an hour, believe it or not, I think they were paying like $4 an hour through their job. So of course, any wise person would leverage that opportunity if the service is good, right? So they're not going to put, their mom or dad in a situation where it's like, okay, we're about to save $16 an hour, and mom is or dad is in an adverse, situation. However, if the service is good or comparable, then why not? And then once they exhausted that, instead of staying with that company and starting to pay them the higher rate, they came back to us. That's because of the diplomatic way that I handled the situation, and I left the door open and said, absolutely, yes, you can come back whenever you are ready to come back. So it's all about conversation. It's all about how you handle anything. So in your case, again, Shanika, I would say have a conversation and see what they can afford, and then how you can help them. So you may just decrease the hours. And then if they, and say if they need, but you got to really go through the process, right? So if somebody is a total care and your company is the primary care provider for them, and they need medication reminders, and they say, well, let's go from 5 days to 3 days, I wouldn't do it. I personally would not do it, because then what's going to happen, I had that happen to me. Very first client, she passed away before being able to come back. So, so what happens is, yes, Shanice, I see that. Yes, right? So it happens in this business, right? That's why we're always marketing, we're always serving, we're always building relationships, because we're in the business where people do, die, people do, change. We have situations where some clients are with us and then they may move in with a loved one, or a loved one may move into with them and become the primary caregiver and no longer need service, or may just need, temporary service, or, intermittent. But to get back to what I was saying, if somebody is a total care patient or client and you're servicing them 7 days a week, and then they want to cut down to 5 days or 4 days, and you're providing services that are a necessity, and then you would say, okay, Ms. Jones, I understand you want to go from 7 days to 5 days, or from 7 days to 3 days. However, who is going to give you your medication, remind you to take your medication? Who is going to fix your food? Who is going to do these things that are necessary? And if Ms. Jones doesn't have a concrete plan, then I'm not going to provide the services, because then I don't want to be in a situation where her skin breaks down. If she's a diabetic, she goes into a diabetic coma, stroke, or whatever it is. The liability is not worth a couple of dollars. Not worth it, right? So then you jump into your patient advocate hat and try to figure it out and help her come up with a plan, because you just don't want to leave her cold turkey. Even though she doesn't have the funds, then you may need to, have her call the state. You may need to help her, see if she can find some other, services that, are affordable, that can give her what she wants. Or maybe, she needs to get a private caregiver. You know what I mean? So it's all about making sure the client is safe and has what he or she needs, even if it's not your service, if you're a part of that person's life. You see what I mean? I had to go into the home and get her well. Yeah, I mean, we gotta do what we have to do. So great questions up there. Dialogue. Can they sign a consent form for refusing skilled care? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a client, think about it. In the hospital, they can refuse service. They can refuse care. Like, we can't make someone eat. We can't make someone take a bath. We can't make someone, it's just like when people go to the emergency room and the doctor may say, okay, we need to admit you. And they were like, oh no, I got things to do. No. Then they sign a form, a release saying, I'm discharging against or leaving against the doctor's will. Right. So I document everything. So but again, with that, so if somebody refuses skilled nursing, and if you're providing skilled nursing, or if you're recommending it or something like that, then you got to think about the liability attached to it as well, right? So if somebody, if you're providing services to someone and they refuse a bath every time you go there, then that's a potential liability, because you're in the home and you don't, and they're not taking a bath, and they're medically fragile, and then their skin break down, and then there's other things that could potentially happen. And you guys got to remember, as healthcare professionals, we're all mandated reporters. So you got to know the law, and you got to make sure you're safe. You got to make sure you're keeping the client safe, and you got to uphold their privacy, their rights. So there's so many things that happen simultaneously that you got to think about in order to make the best decision, even if it's not the decision that you want your client wants you to make. But you got to think about the liability and your responsibility as a mandated reporter. Okay? So you got to make sure you know all those different things. All right? So to recap, guys, is today's the last day of the second quarter. You got 2 more quarters this year. So if you haven't reached your financial goal, then you need to get on it. Right? And that just made me think. I was talking about one of my clients. She not Kat, another client. I forgot exactly what I was saying about her, but what I wanted to share is that she went from having, and I put this out there for you guys to think about. I remember now, is that, you know, we all have these minimums, right? And I think I mentioned this in my private HCP tribe group. We all have these minimums, right? But I want you guys to be thinking about that, because with this particular client, 3 clients, guys, 3 clients went from having a small number of hours. So, and this is really for those of you that don't have clients. If you don't have clients, then you need to sacrifice. You need to manipulate your system a little, perhaps, right? So if you have a contract, maybe you need not to have a contract. If you have a 4-hour minimum, maybe you need not to have a 4-hour minimum. If you have, only, work with this type of clientele, maybe you need to broaden that. I only work in this city. Maybe you need to expand that, right? So she had 3 clients that went from, one client was just getting a shower a week, right? So a lot of us say, oh no, we're not coming out to do a shower a week. Guys, that's crazy when I hear that someone says, I just want somebody to come and give me a bath 1 time a week out of a 7-day week. I just want a bath 1 day a week. That's still somebody we need to be going to see, because they may need more services and they may just want that intro and to see how the service is. So with my client, Naomi, she went from giving somebody a bath. Guys, they only said they want a bath. And they end up switching, I think within a week, from 1 bath or 2 weeks, I'm not really sure, I don't remember, from just getting a shower to 168 hours. 168 hours. She charged $23 for the day shift and $25 for the night shift. And she had 3 clients do that. One client had like 4 hours, 3 days a week. I think 2 of the clients had like 4 hours, 3 days a week. And one client had 1 day a week just for a shower. And all 3 of them, and she said this happened right after conference. She started, doing things different based on the stuff she learned at conference. She went from having just a few hours a week, not even maybe 45 hours a week or something like that, if that, to I think if I remember the math correctly, it came out to 504 hours a week. 504 hours a week, guys, from something so minute, just simply following exactly what I told her to do. And I think if I remember correctly, it came out to be about $11,000 or $12,000 a week. And then it came out to be, I think, $48,000 a month. And then it was almost like $600,000 in revenue a year. So you guys could do the math, because I don't remember it. So it was 168 hours times 3. All right. So if y'all want to do it, somebody do the math with me. 168 hours times 3. And how much is that? Is that 504? Let me do the long math here. Let's see. 168 hours times 3. Okay, so that's 24. 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 504 hours. So that's 504 hours. And then half of those hours was times 23. And then half of those hours were times 25. And then if you add that up, you'll see it'll come up to like $46,000 or either $48,000 a month in revenue. Which then if you times that by 12, since they need long-term care, again, you never know how long a client is going to stay with you. But as long as you do and what you're supposed to do and provide the level of care that they need and a professional caregiver, then they stay with you forever, right? I say to death do us part, because it's true, right? As long as because it's not like they're going to get better if it's, if it's not a rehab, situation, right? So it just depends. So LaShawn, you said, how much do you charge for 2 hours? It really depends on what state you're in, what services you're rendering, and different things like that. I charge $50, but it just depends on where you are, what you're doing, what the service is, how far they live from you, how often you're going there. So it really depends. But in my case, on average, mine is $50, and I charge $20 an hour for my services. All right, guys. So to recap, today is the last day of the second quarter. Tomorrow starts the first day of the third quarter, the third and the fourth quarter, guys. If you haven't reached your revenue goals, if you're not on track for your revenue goals for the year, then guess what? It's not too late, but you need to go hard in the paint, and you need to really get out there. You really need to build relationships in the community. You really need to be marketing. You need to be spending money on advertising and marketing your business. You need to be opening your mouth. You may need a coach. You may need somebody to hold your hand. If you're interested in our coaching services, I am hosting an informational call tomorrow, Monday, July 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link in the post here and the description, and you can click on it. You have to register. You have to, show who you are. So, we're not allowing anyone into the session tomorrow. If you're blocking your face, if you're, not showing, if you don't enter with your name, we're not doing that, guys. We're not. So you're not going to be able to enter. You need to register, and you need to be here now, and you need to be available. Come with your questions, and all of those different things, right? So you could click the link, register, and if you are interested in learning more about how I can help you, how my team can help you in this amazing incentive that Coach Rob put together, all you need to do is click the link, register, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care, guys. God bless. Love you, love you, love you. Put your plan together today for the week. That way you know what you're going to be implementing and what you're working towards. Don't worry about what you didn't do. Don't worry about that you've been slacking. Don't worry about any of those things. Today is the day to get it started. Reach your goals, exceed your goals, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock if you are interested in learning more about how I can help you and my team. Take care, guys. God bless. Love you.